News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
We begin with the latest on the global trade war. President Trump is closing in on his 100-day mark and still looking to make deals. The president says his 145% tariffs on China will force Beijing to the negotiating table.
We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year with China, and now they're not doing any business with us, not because of them, because of me. Because at 145%, you can't do business. But something's going to happen that's going to be positive.
The president spoke with reporters on his way back to the White House from New Jersey this morning. China's foreign ministry reiterated it is not engaged in trade talks with the U.S., and China is promising more support for its exporters, including plans to direct loans to troubled firms and to boost domestic consumption.
Well, Nathan, the Trump administration is signaling that Asian countries such as South Korea, Japan, and India are leading the way in tariff negotiations. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says some nations are prepared to make significant concessions to secure a deal.
We've had several of these Asian countries that come in and said, oh, well, we'll stop doing this, this, and this. And I look at these lists and I think, how did we get here? How did we get here? Because this trading system has been so unfair. And as President Trump says, I don't blame the countries. I blame the previous administrations that let them get away with it.
And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells ABC's This Week that there are 18 important trading partners, including China, which he says is undergoing a special negotiation. You can hear This Week every Sunday on Bloomberg Radio.
Well, Karen, we may soon feel the impact of the trade war. Cargo shipments from China have plummeted by as much as 60% since the U.S. raised tariffs earlier this month. By the middle of May, thousands of companies will need to replenish inventories. Both Walmart and Target told President Trump last week shoppers are likely to see empty shelves and higher prices. And Apollo Global Management chief economist Torsten Slok recently warned of looming COVID-like shortages and significant layoffs. And as the president approaches his 100th day back in office, Karen, his popularity appears to be declining. We get that story from Bloomberg's Gina Cervetti.
A flurry of polls in recent days from NBC, CNN, The New York Times, ABC News, and Fox News reveal the same theme. Voters perceive Trump to be falling short on his core campaign promise to strengthen the economy. The president's rollout of tariffs in early April sent global markets into shock. A CNN poll shows that just 39% of Americans approve of how Trump has steered the economy. That's the lowest of his 2 terms in the White House. An NBC News poll showed tariffs were also deeply unpopular, with just 39% of respondents agreeing with Trump's tariff rollout. Trump rode the twin issues of the economy and immigration to his November election victory, sweeping each of the swing states and winning the popular vote. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
In political news, Karen, Canadians are headed to the polls today to vote for their next prime minister. Bloomberg's David Gura is in Ottawa with more.
Prime Minister Mark Carney, the leader of Canada's Liberal Party, called this election in March, shortly after he succeeded Justin Trudeau. Carney's main rival is Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservatives. For Canadians, this is a referendum on their economic future. The country faces high inflation, a housing crisis, and concerns over job security. But what's front and center are President Donald Trump's aggressive trade policies, particularly new tariffs, and comments he's made suggesting Canada should become part of the United States. The outcome of the election will determine how the country addresses these challenges and how it positions itself on the world stage. In Ottawa, I'm David Gura, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, David, thank you. Turning to the markets now, futures, they are lower, little change to lower, we'll say, as we begin a new trading week. The S&P 500 down about 8% since Trump's inauguration, and it's on track for its worst run during a president's first 100 days since Gerald Ford in 1974. Bob Michael is Chief Investment Officer of Fixed Income at JP Morgan Asset Management. He says Wall Street is bracing for more uncertainty.
The bond market's telling us, watch out. As things stand, if the tariffs go through as they're currently spec'd out, the 90 days passes, and there's only some moderate compromise, the U.S. is going into recession.
JP Morgan Asset Management's Bob Michael. Earnings will also be in focus this week for the so-called Magnificent Seven. Microsoft, Apple, Meta, and Amazon are scheduled to report. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.